Boris Johnson is the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Abba Kyari is the Chief of Staff to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Both men are public figures in their respective countries' political arena. Both men have been diagnosed with the coronavirus disease. Both men are receiving treatment in different medical facilities. But that is where the parallel ends and their stories begin to take very different trajectories. That is the point from which there is a spin to the tale. The whereabouts of the former are public knowledge, whereas that of the latter is a mystery. This is the cross of this place. When the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson tested positive for the coronavirus disease, the British government promptly informed the British public about it. The building housing the British government seat of power, 10 Downing Street, the PM himself freely spoke about his health condition publicly. He kept doing that, giving the public periodic updates even while he was in self-isolation. When he began to manifest symptoms of the disease and needed to be hospitalized, the public knew about it through official channels. As his condition worsened in the hospital and he had to be transferred to the intensive care unit, the government did not keep the public in the dark about the developments. The hospital where the British PM is undergoing medical treatment, compare and contrast that with the Nigerian government handling of the Abba Kyari coronavirus infection. First, the test result was treated as a state secret. The building housing in the Nigerian government seat of power, Aso Rock, it took the government days to grudgingly admit that the chief of staff had tested positive for the virus. Then there was grave silence from the government on his treatment. It took the hashtag "Where is Abba Kyari" trending on Twitter for days for the government to disclose that he had been moved to Lagos for treatment. However, his whereabouts in Lagos remains unknown. Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Professor Abayomi, said he does not know the whereabouts of Kyari in the state. The Minister of Health, Dr. Sagi Aniri, would not disclose Kyari's whereabouts when asked by journalists during a presidential task force briefing. Meanwhile, the void so created by the government's secrecy about his health condition has provided a fertile ground for all manner of unnecessary speculations, wild conjectures, wicked rumors, and conspiracy theories to thrive. The rumor mill has been agog with all sorts of stories about the man Abba Kyari's health. At some point, it was said that he was secretly ferried out of the country for treatment in an unnamed country. Then there was a rumor about him being sighted in a hospital in a particular country. In between, a voice recording surfaced online in which he claimed he was feeling well and would be resuming work soon. Interestingly, while all this has been happening, the government has refused to disclose information about his state of health to the public, rather choosing to treat the matter as a closely guarded secret. About a week ago, controversial blogger Kemi Oluloyo put out the following tweet on her Twitter handle, hashtag breaking, a high-ranking member of President Buhari's cabinet has died of coronavirus COVID-19 complications. I will give the federal the honor of announcing it. You cannot hide it like Yaradua. I am not telling because I value national security of Nigeria. Even Tutu, they mourn, really a Black Thursday at the villa. If you know, you know. They will announce soon, Sha. Big man has died at Buhari needs to retire and go and rest in Daura. All this coro in Aso Rock, hashtag Antikemi save the trend. As to be expected, the tweet sent the Nigerian Twitter community into a frenzy as everyone automatically assumed it must be the COS Abba Kyari. The tweet generated comments in their hundreds. She later retracted the claim, telling Nigerians that she did not mention anyone's name in her tweet. It must be said, though, that the way the federal government has chosen to handle this matter is not entirely strange to Nigerians, though. This is because there have been precedents in the past. The secrecy surrounding the health status of the current President Muhammadu Buhari is open knowledge to all Nigerians. In his first term in office, the president spent 172 days out of the country on official medical leave in the UK, yet the state of his health remains a mystery to Nigerians to date. Rumors were rife that he had died. There were agitations from Nigerians of all walks of life for the government to disclose information on his health, but the government kept mum about it. In between his absence, a lot of drama and controversies, some bordering on financial fraud, happened. In his second tenure, he has been jetting out of the country intermittently for the same purpose, yet Nigerians have not been able to solve the puzzle about the state of his health. It is not as if the seeming oath of secrecy about the health of a Nigerian president started with him, though before him there was the case of President Umar Musa Yar'Adua, which is still very fresh in the minds of Nigerians. Former President late Umar Musa Yar'Adua. Even while doing the rounds of electioneering campaigns, there were obvious signs that the then candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Umar Musa Yar'Adua, was unwell. Eventually, perhaps the rigors of the campaign took a toll on his health and aggravated the situation. He had to take a break and fly to Germany for medical treatment. Then the rumor mill swirled with stories that he had died in the hospital, prompting the then President Olusegun Obasanjo to make that infamous phone call to him right from a campaign ground. In the conversation that ensued, Obasanjo asked him, Umoru, are you dead? They say you are dead. And he said, I am very much alive, sir. Came his reply. This happened on live TV. Yar'Adua won the presidential election and was sworn in as president on May 29, 2007. Few months into his presidency, he became ill and off he went to Saudi Arabia for treatment. Unfortunately, he could not survive the sickness and died. To date, only the Kaaba, as members of the inner caucus who knew about the whole situation came to be known, can tell what happened. The whole incident, from his leaving the country to his death, was shrouded in so much secrecy. The controversies the situation generated rocked and threatened the very foundation of the existence of the country as one nation. Despite this, members of the Kaaba who knew about his death kept the information close to their chests. Meanwhile, the leadership vacuum created by the president's prolonged absence remained unfilled because the president had not transmitted the letter to empower the then Vice President Goodluck Jonathan as acting president in his absence to the National Assembly before he left the country. The Kaaba fully exploited the situation which they had deliberately created to their advantage, spinning all manner of propaganda to maintain the status quo. It took the high-powered intervention of the Save Nigerian Group people by eminent Nigerians for the National Assembly to invoke the principle of the doctrine of necessity enshrined in the Nigerian constitution to save the situation. It took the courage of the then Minister of Information, late Professor Dr. Akunyili, much against the will of the Kaaba, to disclose the president's death to Nigerians. Apart from these two cases, state governors have been known to leave the country for prolonged periods to seek medical attention for undisclosed illness abroad. The very contrasting ways in which the respective governments of both countries have handled the COVID-19 infection of these officials is a metaphor for how they both view and conduct the business of governance, one with transparency and clarity of purpose, the other with opacity and vagueness of purpose and dark secrecy. Secrecy in the business of government encourages and aids official financial corruption. Little wonder that no Nigerian government from independence to date has been able to tame the monster, even though every successful government down the years would always claimed at its inception that killing the monster was one of its primary objectives. Well, so guys, we are not surprised with all of this, with all of that, what has been happening. You know, eh, abnormality has become the norm now. Is the rave of the moment in all levels in this country, and the higher level, which is the government, is really encouraging that. They are the one promoting all manner of secrecy, all manner of secrecy. There's no transparency. There's no transparency at all, and that is why you see that corruption really thrives among themselves, and it trickles down to the masses. So what are they going to be preaching with all that has been happening, and they are still happening? Nobody knows anything. Abnormalities at the order of the day. Doing things in an awkward manner is what we we celebrate, and a lot of people celebrate it, and they want the citizens to be law abiding. They want the citizens to do the right thing, but they never do the right thing. What are we talking about? Oh, some people will come and tell you, oh, why should we be depending or comparing our country to other countries? But the problem is that when it comes to shameful thing, by going to other countries do not come to go to other countries or come to our country for any help of a medical whatever. We are the ones that our leaders are more, they are so rich than even those developed countries. Our leaders will still take our money to those countries to develop those countries, because as soon as you are spending money in those countries, apart from your country, you are projecting them. You are projecting their economy, and that is just the way it is. And people will be telling you, oh, you cannot compare. But those people will still be, those countries will still be giving us aid. They will be giving us money to do a lot of things. Then we will not talk about being a sovereign country or a sovereign state. But when it comes to abnormality, they will say, oh, don't compare, don't do this. Some people will tell you, oh, don't you know that our place is not structured? How can you be comparing our place to that place? And I say, are we caused not to be structured? Are we caused not to be structured, not to do things in a normal way? And at the end of the day, we will be saying, oh, we are cultured, we have culture, this and this and that. It doesn't work that way. The hypocrisy of the highest order, that is what people really bang on. You want people to trust you, but you hide a lot of things. Of course, we talk about Boris Johnson. Everybody knows it, the whole world, not even the country themselves. The whole world knows how he's been going out, his situation during this COVID-19. He went into ICU. After some days, he came out. But this one, we don't even know what is happening. Of course, if the old president spent 172 days outside the country, in another person's country, is it not even shameful? And those who are suffering will justify. They will tell you, yes, our masters, our oppressors should continue to enjoy, and they will still accept that they themselves, they must continue to suffer. How can you help in those in that kind of situation? Those who are, who have the interest of the country at heart, how would they be able to help the other people to be able to lead them, into doing right thing? It's unfortunate. Really, really unfortunate. Let them continue in their secrecy, and they think that is the best way to go. So guys, let us hear your opinion, with the analysis and the comparison between these two gentlemen, Abba Kyari and the Prime Minister of United Kingdom, Boris Johnson. And let us hear your opinion. Of course, it is what we've been talking day in, day out, but I think we need to continue with that so that, at some point, maybe things might change for the better. So leave your comments below in the comments.